performance. We're getting into Cafe, the very first map in what is likely to be a grueling best of 3 series. BDS started out on home turf, their map pick of Cafe, and well, this is a little bit more one-sided in the social prediction than I would have expected. G2 favored to take it. And it is time to get into the 2 European rivals, G2 versus BDS. The best that Europe has to offer, a fierce rivalry that must be settled here in a best of 3. And we'll see what happens in the first map. BDS starting out on the attacking side on Cafe.
Within seconds of going into the server, Alamau is immediately putting in the trash talk. Good luck, you will need it, apparently. Says Alamau as we jump in through the ban phase.
Thatcher, the first one banned out. Oh, we're getting some of the ooh-ways. I don't know if I can hear you guys well enough. You'll need to work a little bit harder than that, but of course it's still early in the day. The Nomad taken on out by BDS.
Yeah, first 2 bans to go. It does mean that all the ranged hard breach and all the kinds of things that BDS, especially starting out on the attack, have been left in. Last time we saw BDS play on this map, we saw them bring along some pretty interesting stuff. Kali, for example, like things like that would deal with problems on the defense that you wouldn't normally expect.
And Doki in the chat as well, after seeing that Nomad ban, replies with gulp. We've seen a lot of talk back and forth in the server between these players. I'd say more than we've seen from any event in the past. Teams are starting to realize that they can get away with a little bit more than you would typically expect when it comes to that smack talk. And in the studio for the play-ins and for the playoffs, we certainly experienced that. And I have no doubt that if you listen closely, after some tight rounds, you will hear Alamau's fury.
All right, jumping into the server for the second quarterfinal of today. G2 starting out the defense are going to take us over to what I believe is Breeding as the first bomb site of choice over on the second floor. With the absence of the Zami, we can see Benja bringing along the castle, but it's not going to be aided by that setup internal to the building. That being said, last time we saw BDS play this map, they dismantled that setup fairly easily in LMs. No longer needing to bring along that Kali, just take along the Zofia is going to be the one with the ranged explosives, then go and deal with that.
There's no doubt about it, G2 have the advantage in the first half here, being on defense on Cafe. Pengu said it in the first match today, but when you're on stage, when the pressure is on, starting on defense is like a nice cool blanket to calm you down, steal your nerves, let you move forward, forcing your opponent to make the first move.
Pretty extended hold over there in shop for G2 as BDS start to make their approach into the building. Breda is going to dismantle at least some of this setup going into the top floor. That's going to allow some of the rest of his players to send in that flurry of grenades, Zofia charges, whatever they might need to do to systematically break this down.
Oh, a little bit of damage from Alem's. Quite an aggressive peek here. An aggressive play from G2. It's Benja Master, the Dane himself, the Prodigy. He's getting quite aggressive, looking for someone from BDS to overpeak him. Thus far, it's Alamau who fires up, peeking the red hatch. He said, Shaika, we're coming for you. And in the first round, he's already made good on that promise.
Yeah, with that castle barricade staying up inside a shop, the double door one, Alamau is so safe inside there to go and take all his gunfights, all the ones that he's comfortable with. Uno on the other side is going to support him over in a psycho position, irony, but never mind, he falls off this for now. Can't quite land the shots just yet, but Leaky Pack, he might have a cutoff here.
Patience from BDS. They're waiting for someone to overstep. Uno on the other side does not get caught. It's in fact Alamau first, but Uno to trade. Once again, he dons this G2 jersey, and once again, he finds himself on a stage representing one of the most esteemed teams in Rainbow Six.
It has been a bloodbath in the top floor so far between these 2 teams, but Benja is not ready to give it up. Brede on the other side, oh, is he looking the right way? I think there might be a bit of protection on his right, stopping him from being taken down by Benja over in the stage.
Benja looks to get aggressive at the moment. Virtue duels with Renshiro, finds a double! The Aussie finds 2, the Finn finds 3. And with that, a a fairly elementary opening round for G2.
Yeah, BDS, they barely got their foot in the building. The moment that they got onto the roof, it was such a difficult translation from the roof to even step inside a shop. They were met by the resistance of Alamau, and everyone else just flurried on through inside of the stage, inside of Cigar, and just took them all down before they could even make a dent into the defense.
Every one of these players has played on the main stage before, many a time. The least experienced player on the main stage at this event is, in fact, Leakafak. Once a rookie for BDS, but already a major champion. Similar story for Benjamaster on the other side.
Let's go, boys! Let's go, guys!
And that's the kind of energy we expect out of G2. One round in, now Alamau's already bringing the fire.
We're going to go up to the top floor as the next bomb site for G2, and it doesn't look like they're changing up their strategy all that much from what we saw on the second floor in Reading Dev. I mean, have a look at this. Still a pretty aggressive rotation hold going in all the way from Backstore, inside of Cigar. The same castle setup. Alamau still on mute with the shotgun. It's feeling like a bit of deja vu.
I guess G2 thinking if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We expect to at least delay time or find a pick or two or three defending this top floor. Defending this piano and cigar shop extension, but here comes the Twitch drone sneaking in behind enemy lines. Leakafak loses it before he finds anything.
What do BDS change here? They're looking as if they're bringing in the same setup or the same lineup, at least on the attacking half, but the approach has got to be different, especially if G2 are comfortable enough to repeat the same strategy.
You can see the temptation from Benja to go for an aggressive jump out. It has been read by BDS. Look at this, the quick prone peek. He doesn't find anything.
Yeah, Benja is comfortable with playing a danger so far, and Doki down below is going to look for a peek out onto the south rappel. Renshiro, though, he's got his eyes trained on the angle for now. He knows that Doki's going to get aggressive and look for him, and Doki actually thinks the better of it and will pull off.
G2 set the tempo in the first round with their aggressive peaks, and now they look to make BDS make that first move.
I quite like this caution from BDS on the other side. They haven't gone to try and contest or drop the red hatch super early on. They're just waiting to see if they can pull a reaction from G2, and this might be the one they're looking for.
And indeed, you are correct. BDS reads Doki like a book. Two players trained on that garage position. Even with the impact, it's not enough to stave off an opening pick in favor of the French.
And that's the opening that they wanted. But there goes Alamau ripping out a C4. It doesn't connect to it. Virtue's shots do, and Alamau's SMG will connect as well. Leakafak from down below will at least make an incision in through white stairs, but is it enough? Renshiro can claim one back.
And Leakafak a second. This is not just back into the realm of possibility, but it is back into the realm of probability for BDS. A numbers advantage as Leakafak has snuck his way up the white stairs.
Oh, Sneaky Beaky is looking in for the backstab. Oh, but does he know? Alamau's down below and could look to flank his flank.
Oh, Leakafak doesn't seem to be aware of it. He's now moved forward, but he might find one. Virtue's there, ready to even up the numbers and take three. Renshiro now with it all to do against the Aussie and the Brazilian. Virtue of 4K! Fired up on the main stage with the ward, and the Aussie laps him up.
Really nice work there from G2. They met the caution with, I suppose, caution of their own. Even though BDS spent a long time outside the building, they were reading the early aggression of G2. The moment that they got inside the building, G2 just played that trade game to perfection. They really played it so patiently in through the mid-round, letting BDS take their time. And by the time it came down to the 1 versus 2, Renshiro was so disconnected from his team, there was no way he was going to win that one.
BDS relied on a couple of heroics in that late round, and unfortunately for Leakafak, he just missed his mark. A little bit more patience, he may have found Alamau on the flank, a little bit more precision, and he may have found Virtue hiding in washrooms, but let's have a look at these frags. Quite a montage here for Virtue in that round. 4 impactful kills, every single one of them having a huge impact for his team. It was a wall bank to close. How he finds that, I've no clue.
Yeah, sharp shots from Virtue. Once you're given the Warden 1.5x license, I mean, hey, you run away with it, right? Especially if you're Virtue. He's been excellent through 2023.
He has. He had quite a fiery Six Invitational as well, as did most of G2, of course. Uno, the only player on this roster that did not win that championship with this team. In fact, Uno has yet to raise any trophy No majors, no Pro League finals, no Six Invitationals. Perhaps this new G2 is the one where he will do it.
G2 are taking us over to mining and dining. They're not taking us down into the first floor of kitchen, but instead trying to throw a curveball at BDS, see what they can respond with.
But as Cafe so typically is, it's a slow start for BDS. Ascertaining where the presence is on the map. As soon as Leakafac's drone is taken down by Doki, he decides perhaps not pillars as my first entry point.
Uno down below is getting ready to contest this. Leaky back there, Lems on the rappel there, is feeling a little bit of the danger of the lineup from down below and is going to jump off that for now. Not a whole lot of resistance from G2 on the top floor, just a little bit of it, and it's up to BDS now to pick it apart.
But once again, Mandy, I think BDS are waiting for a reaction from G2 so that they can then find the opening pick by punishing early plays, but a C4 goes amiss. However, Alamau jumps straight out the east balcony and takes down Leakafac. Careful for the Claymore, he finds one back, and there is no confirmation. There's no trade for BDS.
I'm pretty shocked they didn't trade that one. BDS, they now have the territory over inside a shop and need to translate it, but there goes the Lems rappelling in, can take down Virtue, so still numbers even back up for BDS as they make their way in through the top floor.
And critically for BDS, they've got this map control as well, stealing away that entire top floor from G2.
But what do they do now? It's about the translation from the top floor into the ground floor. What bomb site will they hit with the vertical pressure that they have got in their hands? It's Renshiro with the sledge to start to tear it up through the mid-round.
Doki's used his C4, not available now. Shaiko resetting a drone here, always cautious for the flanks are BDS. They have a read on G2, but what if G2 plays slow?
It's up to BDS now to press the attack. They have the vertical pressure they need, but they still haven't been able to clear the player outside of reading. That's Doki, who's now had to vacate that position and fall on back. But what do they do from here? Do they then go and try and move their way on into reading? It seems like that's what they're going to do.
The Lambs moving on through, clearing these corners, but nobody in reading. There is, however, one just around this corner. Doki finds him, a trade comes through for BDS, but back again likely is Uno's at the bottom of white. Shaiko finds him. 20 seconds to convert the man advantage now for BDS on this attack. But Benjamaster, the Dane, holds on, falls back, repicks, finds one, looking for a second, the trade for Brede. Now the man who talks must act.
5 seconds.
1v2 for Alamau, but he is cut down. The French find their first.
Great deconstruction of the bomb site there from BDS. Once they had that top floor control, they knew that flushing Doki out of his position meant that they could translate it down inside of reading. That was the safe haven that they managed to find in the second floor. And once Elems made headway in there, he found the picks that he needed off the back of a trade, I suppose, coming in through the laundry hatch. It opened up that half of the map to BDS, and they're able to walk their way in onto the bomb site with the numbers advantage from there.
And it goes to show that despite losing these early engagements, BDS cannot be counted on out. Even the fact that they were unable to trade Alamau, trying to jump back inside after his run out on the east balcony, which we now get to see in full HD. No Claymore underneath his window, ironically, the only window on that balcony where there was no Claymore. Alamau detects it
5 seconds left.
and finds his opportunity. However, he was not able... He was not able to clutch up. BDS getting fiery now as well.
They put themselves on the scoreboard as well. It's what you want to be doing over on the attack for BDS. And look at the lineup that they've got going for them this time around. A lot of zoning operators. There was the Grim that's now being teased out from Brede as opposed to bringing along extra hard breach. It makes me think that BDS this time are changing up the pace. You don't need the hard breach to go and deconstruct the bomb site or whatever. Just try and inject someone inside of the map. There's a Nook as well on Leaky Fac. We've got to keep an eye on him.
First, BDS will have to keep an eye on the spawn peak. Alamau teased it for a brief moment, opening up all these piano windows. The defense are suggesting to BDS that they will play aggressive. Now, BDS have had that read and yet have not always been able to punish this early aggression. We saw it in the round just prior with Alamau's early pick. But I wonder now if BDS will be able to reply. It seems 50-50, Mandy. Every time G2 makes an aggressive play, BDS are often punishing it.
Well, that's what they've got to do. In the absence of the no-man, which they banned out, by the way, they now have to account for it in the early round in their approach to the building because they don't have the air jabs to keep G2 accountable.
I wonder if Uno will be spotted. There he is. Renshiro pings him out to the team. Uno now knows he's been spotted and he starts to fall on back, but there's already attackers in this top floor. Shaiko's a very sharp shot in those long engagements with the 1x sight. Just around the corner from him lies Benjamaster in washrooms. Shaiko gets on the drone, spots him out. Elsewhere, Virtue's failed C4 means that still we are out of numbers equality. In goes a nade, but there's plenty of catch here to support G2.
This is a really tough spot now for BDS. They have no hard breach. There's no way they're going to be able to deconstruct this position inside of Bathroom unless they make their way on in with their guns.
Oh!
And that's Shaiko on the other side, but he's shut down by Benja.
How does Benja find that kill? In no universe should he have done so. There is, however, a trade back thanks to Alems, and Alamau protects his Surya Gate, taking down that Gemini before it can disable the utility. Alamau's getting aggressive, but Leakafak elsewhere has stolen a pick away on site.
This is good from Leakafak. He's taken away a little bit of territory from G2 over on the the second floor, but here goes Alamau rounding the corner onto Alems, but he can take him down.
Oh, the trade from Uno. He was spotted early. He cannot be punished late. Still numbers advantage for BDS, but Uno's about to change that! Taking down Leakafak and putting BDS once again on the back foot.
Solid work so far from BDS as they're going to think about this second floor instead of trying to hold on to the top floor. They know that there's only one player that could be in the bomb site, and they're going to try and hit it.
Two of the most clutch players in Rainbow Six, Bride and Renshiro on the attack now. Time dwindles, but they must make their move. Virtue holds the perfect angle to take down Renshiro, and Uno supports him for the second. Up 3-1 at G2, with plenty of this first half still to play.
That was a good pivot from the remaining two players of G2. Virtue and Uno doubling down on their picks inside of the hallway, especially Uno as well. He was in the top floor, he knew he had the vertical lines, but he thought the better of it and held the crossfire.
And round by round, Mandy, we see G2 force the issue in this early round, leading us to late 2 versus 2s, 3 versus 3s, situations that G2 want to be in. Top 10 moments where I wish I learned French right there.
It is the other language you want to learn, other than Portuguese, of course. I mean, I feel like if you're in the Rainbow Six industry, you either want to know English or Portuguese. You can speak to everyone after that, but yeah, it would be good to know what BDS is saying.
Some really sharp shots from Uno
really
that
nice.
round.
So good.
Especially after being droned right at the start. He even comes back in the nick of time to support his team. Alibi is not happy about that one. Disaster. Perhaps we have a BDS fan in the audience, or 3. I think that we've got a couple of BDS fans in the audience today.
5 seconds left before insertion.
They're almost as loud as the G2 fans. Can I hear the G2 fans for a second? Almost is a generous word.
Well, they do love it here in North America. Top floor bomb site for G2, repeat of course, but very different strategy. We're no longer seeing the castle setup being held inside a shop, but it doesn't seem to matter for Benja. He's already got a C4 prepped for the rappel up onto the roof.
Oh, this is so cheeky. Oh, but it gets shot mid-air by Shaiko. The sharp shooter, one of the best players in the game, notorious for his mechanics.
This is a bit of a pulled back defense from G2. They're not holding onto shop as aggressively as they did the last time they played this bomb site, but instead of leaning into the mirror, having slipped through the ban phase and holding onto these really long lines of sight. I think it's 2 or 3 players with 1.5x's in their hands. They can use all of those long angles having been broken up to try and contest them as they make their way in through shop.
Yeah, but there's also a lurk going on from Leakafak. Lurky Leakafak. But downstairs he will eventually meet Doki, but one of Doki's mirrors has been dismantled thanks to the Twitch pick from Alems.
Uno with a C4 ripped out as well, ready to toss that one across, but it's Shaiko to be spearhead of the push for BDS as he makes his way in off Doki though. He's been taken down.
Yeah, that's the lurk from Leakafak taking down that reading player. I'm not sure if Doki decided to get a little bit too aggressive downstairs, but either way, an early pick and early aggression falls flat for G2. 2 players now downstairs for the defense. BDS numbers advantage, but where do they make their move?
If BDS realize they could maybe have a think about hitting the bomb site right now. No more C4s in the hands of G2, but that being said, Uno's just taking down Renshu, who I believe was out on the rappel, but here goes the rest of BDS. Surely they can at least try and translate this control in through shop.
And as the smokes go through, Uno is too far from home to assist. And Nate goes through, perfect! Onto Alamau. Shiko might not know it. And as the Finker Adrenal Surge comes through, BDS have a huge opportunity. Shutting Virtue down. 2 players on the ground for G2. Means it's all up to Benja once again. Against 4, Shiko can easily lap up the final few picks, forcing Benja into a 1v4, swiftly becoming a 1v3. BDS does not need to force this. He looks to relocate. Find a more optimal plant position. Shiko, well, he's always that guy, isn't he? Closing the round for BDS, who are one step closer to tying the score.
Absolutely massive round there from Shiko. Not only did he claim the territory that BDS needed to win the round, the round-winning territory, but he was the one to open up in picks as well. He claimed his 2 on the entry, downing one with a really nice nade, and closed the round, making sure BDS was safe on his plant as well. Massive round from the entry of BDS.
I think the BDS fans took that loudness comment a little bit too personally. But we'll see as the game goes on. Perhaps if the half can be tied, there's no doubt who that would favor. BDS on their attack, getting 3 rounds, and more than that, finding 2 in a row to close the half. There's no doubt where that momentum would fall.
Yeah. I gotta say, I really do like the change of pace there from BDS. They started out slow, doing this like deconstructing type approach into the map, but that time around, we really got to see the injections that we wanted to from LeakyFac and from Shiko. They went in and they tried to claim the territory of the map that they needed to go and win out the round. They did that with so much confidence.
5 seconds left.
Good entries from BDS, good lurks. LeakyFac has been a stellar player this tournament. Him and Shiko, between them, already have hit double digits in this game. 5 kills apiece. The top fraggers on their squad. On the other side, it's a very uneven affair. Virtue and Uno stealing the majority of the kills. But that's the thing about G2. Every single player has pop-off potential.
The lineup here from BDS does make me think that they're looking to go for a slower pace round this time around, trying to adjust their way of deconstructing the map. Last time we saw them attack this bomb site, they did this really nice push into the top floor, down through reading, and into the bomb site. This time around, though, it is going to be aided by the Bravo of Alems to see what he can hack and try and create some room for his entries to get in safely.
Oh, this Brava is so powerful against the Valkyrie, isn't it? However, Doki spots it and protects his Valkyrie cameras for a little bit longer. Alems has just hacked 1 default camera, but I wouldn't be surprised if G2 clue in pretty quickly and take it down.
There are a lot of players on drones right now. BDS taking their time in the early round to find the point of least resistance, find a bit of safety for Shiko to finally make his way in, and that's the player inside his shop. He's got to be careful. Down below is Benja with a C4 ready and prepped.
Okay, but here comes that logic bomb, so no more camera access. Benja hangs up his phone quickly and gets straight back onto this piano cam. He spots 2 players. Virtue wants to make an aggressive peek, but doesn't get it as of yet. Benja still calling out information to his team. Virtue decides to fall back.
Good stuff from BDS. They are sitting in the blind spots of the vertical C4 for now. They know that there could be a player down below, as there is no players of BDS down there, so they're playing it safely. This is nice as well from LeakyFac. Oh, this could be a bit dangerous, actually. The C4 actually misses. Is he going to detonate it? LeakyFac, you've got to be careful on the other side, but the flurry of kills is going in the way of G2.
It does, but only barely, Mandy. A single player in advantage, and Shiko's coming for the backstab. He can't land enough shots. Virtue finds his 8th, and amidst the chaos, G2 reigns supreme. A 4-2 split on the half.
Solid work there for G2. They really managed to shut down the sort of mini execute that BDS went in through the top floor. They spent such a long time measuring, and when they finally went to cut, G2 were ready.
A good half from G2. We have their analyst, Titan, on the line. Titan, what have you got to say?
Not too much. I mean, they played the game as expected. They've got a huge variety of straps and map pool and what we want to do realistically. So ideally, we're just looking to play our game, basic source of small counters that we can do, and so far the boys with a 4-2 half on defense on Cafe, absolutely spot on, perfect with what we need.
Is there anything to say about moving into this second half?
Not too much. Again, same sort of thing. BDS, they love Cafe. They feel very comfortable on it, but the reality is we're just going to prove that we're the better team on Cafe. We're the best team in Cafe in Europe.
And how did you feel about the veto as a whole? We've got Chalet and Nighthaven if we get to it.
I'm not really sure what BDS were playing out there with those maps, but you know they clearly wanted to give us a free win, so we'll take advantage of that. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Titan. Confident as always, RG2. And a little bit of insight there, I gotta say, Mandy, whenever you hear confidence come out of G2, always got to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And keep in mind that now BDS have gone on their side swap over onto the defense, and we like to say that Rainbow Six is the tale of two halves. And even though G2 have come away with a 4-2 half, Titans seem pretty happy about that. BDS could well and truly replicate that same success.
Very much so. You want to talk about how today's gone so far? How many defenses did we see in that W7MGK game? Very defender-sided finals we've seen so far here in Atlanta. But as the sample size increases, we expect that to change, and G2 could certainly prove a point here.
The logic bomb off the Dokkaebi will ring out over onto the defense, but the G2 players are in really quick. Doki coming up through the red stairs. He's going to put a spray through the wall onto Pillar, but no one's going to meet him on the other side. The only player on the second floor is LeakyFac over on white stairs, anticipating a player to come through with the shotgun in hand, but he's not going to be met by anyone just yet.
Yeah, Virtue's too patient for that. Oh, but talk about patience. Alamau has exhibited none of it as he's already made his way into reading. A nade, unfortunately for G2, doesn't land. There's not enough info to make it play just yet.
I mean, look, he misses one, they've got 5 more in their pocket. So if they want to get Virtue up the white stairs as well, they could send up a few more of those.
Oh, but LeakyFac does not want to let anyone get past. He will listen to someone running by his hallway and swing. Brede also supporting with this camera as well. Then just going back outside now, repositioning. G2 are pushing everywhere at once, except for hard clearing this piano position.
Shaco, though, he wants to keep it at bay just in case the pressure comes in through later on. Small thing about BDS is I think they had a good read on the grenades from below. All of them were sitting on a hard floor, so they couldn't be grenaded from down below with the vert nades. But now, having vacated the ground floor, have G2, they've gone onto these rappels instead. They're having a think about clearing inside the shop, seeing what they can get inside a cocktail. Actually, one is going to be sent in from down below. That's Alamau, but it doesn't quite connect.
However, we did see Shaiko take a hell of a lot of damage from a nade from the skylight. Now Shaiko himself has been thrown. He slips out safely back into the bomb site, back past his home, Shaiko's spot, and towards the bomb site. Another nade to come through here for G2, but none of these nades have netted kills thus far. Doki, however, opens the equation, and G2 swoop in to clean up.
Here goes Alamau, though, in on his own rappel, can take down Renshiro as well, leaving it all alone in the 1 versus 3 now for LeakyFac, all alone on the mute. Bet you can help him out, though.
Yeah, but not for much longer, as Uno's got his number. We did have a team kill amidst the chaos, but it seems not to matter for G2. Perhaps Titan's confidence was warranted. You see nothing but frustration on the French faces.
It almost looked like G2 didn't have any control on the map through the entire round. They spent such a long time poking and prodding at BDS, and BDS tried so hard. They put in such a great effort to make sure that they were safe from the vertical nades and from the control that G2 had down below. But at the same time as G2 were doing that, they didn't telegraph where their push was coming from later on. They didn't have that control down of red, so they had Shaiko kept at bay there. They had BDS players worried about the front and BDS players worried about the back too, and that really spread the defense out thin. So the moment that G2 actually decided to strike, all they needed to do was win their ones on the entry, and well, you can back in these players to do that.
110%. During this tournament, G2 have been infallible, but neither have they truly been tested. They are one of only 2 undefeated teams here in Atlanta thus far, but one could also argue they haven't had the toughest run to get to the finals. 7-3 over Fury, 8-6 over Dark Zero, 7-1 over Scars, 7-4 over Damwon Kia, D+ Kia, and a 7-5 over GK. That's 3 APAC teams, a MENA team, and an overtime against an NA team. This is by far the hardest game that G2 have had yet, and they're not showing it at all.
Now BDS, having lost that last round, it did warrant them to take their tactical timeout, which I think is fair enough. G2 are starting to run away with it, especially with the momentum. And that last round in particular, it felt like BDS had the right idea against G2. They had the read on the attack that G2 were going for, but they tripped over the last hurdle when G2 went in for the execute, even with no map control. So what BDS need to do now is they need to recollect themselves, keep their composure, and make sure that they can close these rounds to the end.
And I think the frustration we saw from Leakafak when he was very enthusiastically speaking at the end of last round was due to the confusion that would likely have been on BDS's side. G2 uses all nades, find no kills. You think that BDS is going to be favored. And now Alems decides, I think it's about time we get spicy with it, going for an aggressive spawn peek. However, I do not believe anyone from G2 will cross his line of sight. Shaiko elsewhere has gone too aggressive and fallen victim to Alamau, who hits him with the question mark in chat. He continues to play the villainous behavior, but Alems gets the second kill in, taking down Uno, continuing to manifest from this piano window.
Oh, Alems being a bit relentless over there on the top floor, but here goes G2. A very linear push inside of Bakery. They've taken no other map control except for Bakery so far, and it seems like it is going to stay that way. The thing they need to worry about now is the vertical pressure from up above from BDS. They have two players, one of them being the Aruni, who's made a couple holes and is having a look in through prep.
Alamau wants to spray it on back. G2, for the most part, looking for a very direct push. They have no interest whatsoever in clearing these players above, but they will bide their time. They will play the confusion game, getting information on the site, identifying points of weakness, looking for an opportunity to make a play.
And it seems like it's going to be aided by the utility of Virtue on the Capitao, the execute-centric utility that you want to keep in your pocket until it's the right moment to strike. But what they need to worry about here is dislodging some of these players in the top floor, because Alems is going to be holding on to that for as long as he can. But it doesn't matter. Benja, he directly contests the angle and will take him down.
G2 are just baiting BDS into pushing. The diffuser is not even within G2's clutches, and yet they find kill after kill. Another nade to go through, the smokes to cover these lines of sight, leaving Bride all alone on the bomb site in a 1 versus 4 match point on the other side of a 4v1 for G2. But they don't need to get aggressive, they don't need to push. Bride has the chance to clutch, but Doki shuts him out. Map point on BDS's pick for G2.
This is another part of the G2 attacks. I mean, we've seen it happen twice now. G2, they take minimal map control. They barely take anything to their name, but what do? They bait BDS into a false sense of security and a false sense of safety. Even though G2 were over inside of Prep, over inside of Bakery, they didn't make their way on in because they knew that they weren't safe from the vertical, but they had the confidence to challenge it anyway. And all that Virtue was doing with his utility in his hands was actually taking a reaction or pulling a reaction from the players of BDS to actually look their way in through the vertical, but a G2 player on the other side would already had their gun trained on that angle. And so all of BDS sort of just got baited into taking these one-to-ones that G2 was so ready for.
So ready for the 1v1s, like they've been so ready for Atlanta. Oh, what a gnarly opening kill for Alamau. So many ones going in favor of G2. And what a year it has been for G2. Not at all favorites in Montreal, and yet world champions nonetheless. Knocked out in quarterfinals in Copenhagen and barely scraping into the top 8 in Europe. Now already top 8 at the major. Uno is back on the squad, and they're looking better than ever.
And what we hoped was a close map is looking like it might be a G2 wipeout now on match point. Will take us over to Reading and Fireplace as potentially the final bomb side of choice for BDS. Looking to make their approach into the building are G2. They have leaned into some interesting stuff here. Benja picking along the Grim does make me think that they're looking to try and dislodge whatever defense has gone in through the top floor with some of that zoning utility, locking them out with the Lion, with the Dokkaebi. These are all operators that you bring along when you're looking to do a roam clear or when you're looking to make a pretty explosive entry in on the map where you don't want the info of the drones, but instead you want the active info of exactly where the positions are. Oh, there they go.
What is this from BDS? Very early. So many picks come through in their favor as G2 have a very pacey start to the rounds. Looking to close this game as quickly as possible. However, they make it look so doable. 2v2. Alamau steals another pick away from BDS.
Bride as well under the pump from the vertical, and a player inside of the horizontal take going into Reading. It's going to recall back Alems to try and help him out, but Bride, he's taken down so low.
Not a single mistake can be afforded. Doki finds a triple kill in the 1v1. Alems sends a few shots his direction, looking for the killing blow to push this map deeper. for BDS!